Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Mariner of Spirit. I'm Greg. I'm your host. And tonight we have two very, very special people, uh, people that have done a great deal of things for the community as far as the paranormal community is concerned. And I will bring them on in a minute. I want to mention the few things that I normally talk about. And number one is the people that I support. And right now it's Potographs uh, and Tim Miley. Potographs is a fundraiser that Tim went ahead and put together for homeless animals. And he started doing it at Paracons and events. And he had pictures of himself and a pooch of his that passed. And he didn't know how he was going to be able to handle anything after that, after the pooch passed. And he came up with that idea, and that sort of made this all roll into one. And he's done a great job. He's done great events. He's got great guests. And hats off to him. Number two is PKC, Paranormal Kicks Cancer, with Chris Gajkowski and Alex Wilkinson. And they're from down in Florida. And they do events. They do paracons, things like that, all for cancer research. And you can see them a lot of times. You'll see them at a haunted location, and they're great people. I've had them on before, like all these people, and they're very gracious, and they're a lot of fun. Thirdly is the Jessica Petrie Foundation, and that's the daughter of Howard Petrie from the Paranormal United Network and Parallax. And she died a while ago, and the foundation is a resource for expecting mothers and families of pregnant women with mental illness. And Howard put this together after she passed, and it's a great foundation. If you get the opportunity, be sure all of these, if you get an opportunity to say hi or give a few bucks to any of these, please do so. And the second thing I would always go ahead and try to mention are the authors that I particularly care for, the authors that I think that you should support. You have Tobias Wayland, Adam Benedict, Kathy Kressel, Cheryl Lynn Carter, Dr. Heather Lynn Langdon, Ron Iacovetti, Tony Rathman, Natalie Jones, Patty Negri, Sylvia Schultz, Amelia Cotter, Rex Nielsen, David Sloan, and not last but least, but probably the one of my all-time favorites is Bruce Holiday. So if you get the opportunity and stop by a bookstore or go on Amazon or talk to them and see what is the best approach to getting their books, and please do so. And without further ado, I'm going to bring you Pac-Man Paranormal. It's Denise and Ernie Pack.
Hello.
Hello.
How are
Hi,
you?
how are you? Okay, how are you guys?
Good, thank you. Glad
It's
to
an
be
honor
here.
it's an honor to have you guys on because it's been so long, and my list gets thrown away every once in a while, and then I got, you know what I mean? You get too many papers on your desk, and
Oh,
you try
trust
to
me.
get them back together
He doesn't
again.
know anything about lists. He don't do lists.
Oh,
That's
I
my
do
list.
lists because you have a dozen of them for me every day.
We're just talking about the paranormal list.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes on, and there's more than just the paranormal list with this one.
I get a list too, Ernie. I mean, there's no big difference there. Only mine say I've gone for a walk,
You
that
see,
kind of stuff.
no, mine are just
we've got about 15 different things going on.
We
at
got a
all
lot of
times.
irons in the fire all the time.
You have a new place now, right?
Well,
Yeah.
we have a new house. We have
There's
a new
fog.
location that we're running the tours and investigations out of, and public events. Fort Duffield, which is a Civil War fort. That's just what, quarter mile from here, right over there.
Yeah, we can see it out our bedroom window. We can see the hill.
Yeah.
And then we live in Kentucky's most haunted house.
The Ditto House Inn.
So how is the house been?
Very active.
You want to talk about peeing your pants just before the show?
No, I don't. Not really.
Yeah, there's always something going on here. I mean, it's a very active house. I mean, it's the most active place I've ever been.
We had so many people because it's our private residence. It's not open for investigations, and we had so many people asking us because they assumed we bought it for that. But in all honesty, we were looking for a historic home. It was a Civil War hospital. So when I saw 1841 Civil War hospital, I was like, we've got to go see this house. And we made an offer on it within 24 hours, assuming it was haunted. And then we Googled the Ditto House Inn because we have a placard, a historic placard on the house. And it came up when we Googled it, most haunted house in Kentucky.
And we were like,
So-
bonus. High five.
So we auctioned.
Jackpot.
Yeah. We decided because so many people were asking us that we would auction off a night, raffle off a night. And we were selling raffle tickets at $20 a pop, and we made $3,000 on raffle tickets.
So we decided, well, maybe we ought to go ahead and open it.
We had the first group come, and when they were here, we batted around the idea of what we had, price wise and our ideas and stuff, and said, if we opened up just a few dates, what do y'all think? And they said, we'll buy the first one, and they did. So we opened up like 6 dates, and all 6 of them sold like immediately. And everybody that's come has not been disappointed.
Everybody that has come has said if we open more, they'll come back.
Yeah, they've wanted to come back. And as of right now, we're deciding whether we want to open some more. We haven't officially made that decision yet. But look, Rob just popped in. Everyone, please stand for the arrival of Rob Stakowitz. Rob is one of the ones that actually he did buy an overnight. He hasn't came for his overnight yet, but he came and visited for a weekend, and he had experiences the whole weekend he was here. So anybody that's come to this house can tell you this house is crazy. Like it says right there, the real house is legit.
So you're even doing overnights?
We're
considering
more.
opening some more up. We opened up 6, like she said, and they were all very successful and very active.
Right.
And so, we've got people wanting to come back and other people that didn't get in on the 6 that we had available that are wanting to come.
It's a very, Rob had some pretty big experiences when he was here.
There's Joe DeHoyos. Good to see you, Joe. Haven't seen you for a while.
We see a whole bunch of familiar faces over here.
Big Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got Bigfoot at the fort. Speaking of Bigfoot, Fort Duffield, we got Bigfoot and ghosts up there. But
So you got a whole bunch of bangs in the backyard and stuff.
Well, the backyard, we got a river in the backyard. We got a nice yard, and then the river.
There is a potter's field back there somewhere.
Yeah, but the fort is over here on top of the hill on the other side of the highway, and it's hundreds of acres that butt up against the Fort Knox military reservation, and it is just notorious for Bigfoot sightings.
We've had people that have booked the fort that have had the trifecta. They've had Bigfoot, spirit, and UFO activity up there.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. It's a really cool place.
As far as booking the house, it's kind of a fine line with that, and we don't really want to just open it up because we do live here. It's our belongings are here. We still have an 18-year-old child that lives at home. So there's Rob saying Ernie bathes in the river. So there's a whole lot of Rob. That's when he decides to bathe. I wouldn't say every morning.
Every now and then.
But yeah, eventually maybe we'll open the house up full time, but it's going to have to be.
We're gonna have to have somewhere to live.
We're going to have a place for us to be off premises, because it's hard, because we do work regular jobs, and if we have people investigating all night, even if they don't require us to be part of it, we've got people running around our house
sleep
while we're trying to
at some
sleep.
point. Yeah. So it's going to take some logistics to make it all work out.
It
But,
sounds like you need some caution tape
Yeah, crime scene tape.
or off limits crime scene. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
caretaker butler. Rob.
Yeah, we're trying to move Rob in to this room right here.
Yeah, this is the murder room that we're sitting in right now.
Yeah.
Lovingly known as the murder room. And this is actually where Rob slept when he stayed. And well, why don't you tell Greg about Rob's experience, since Rob's over here? Rob,
yeah, since Rob's in the chat talking so much. Rob stayed with us one weekend, and Rob wears hearing aids. So when he went to bed that first night,
he said, notice that they went in the murder
Right.
room.
He plugged his hearing aids in next to the bed here at the bedside table, and got up the next day and reached for his hearing aids. The first thing he noticed was that the light wasn't on his charger, and he's like, "What's up with that?" And then he looked, and his charger wasn't there. The charger had been unplugged, and it was on the other side of the bedside table over here, like 4 feet away from the outlet.
Now the plug sits that far from the floor.
Yeah,
If it had
it's
fallen,
real
it would
low
have
to the
just
floor.
fell. So it was
There's
like
no
4
reason
feet.
for it to be 4 feet over on the other side of the nightstand like that. So he was a little taken aback by that, and that was a bit
Rob, correct
off-putting.
us if we're wrong.
Right? Yeah. So he told us about it. He plugged them back in, and he actually announced to the room. He said, "Guys, I need my hearing aids. Please let me charge them." And so he plugged it all back in.
Yeah, he said that charger unplugs in a direction perpendicular to where it was laying on the floor, 4
Exactly.
feet away.
Yeah. And so he came downstairs and was hanging out with all of us for a while. And then he said, "Well, I'm going to go check on my hearing aids, see if they're charged now." And he went back upstairs. Yeah. And he came back up here, and the charger was still plugged in, but the cord that went to his actual hearing aids was unplugged from the charger
And laying across the bed.
and rolled up neatly and laying on the bed here. And, he was just kind of blown away by that. And yeah, like he says, he was standing downstairs, looked up the
cord was
steps.
rolled up nicely.
Yeah. Looked up the steps and saw a pair of legs on the stairway that didn't belong to any of us. We were all downstairs.
We've got one video that Ernie got within 30 minutes of the first day we got the keys to the house, of the door downstairs closing on command. Hey, Joanne. And then we actually had a podcast 2 or 3 weeks ago.
About 3 weeks ago.
Right here in this room with that door that's right over Ernie's shoulder there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it has to
It
be
opened
latched
in the
to
middle
be
of the
closed.
show.
Yeah, it just opened. And now I don't know right now.
I think it's latched on the other side.
Yeah, there is a latch on the other side. We did not include that in the video, but there was nobody here. It's only latched on the other side whenever our son he had been
That's
gone.
his bedroom.
Yeah, he'd been gone a while, so we had unlatched it and been in and
There's
out.
Danny
So,
Marie. Hi,
Danny.
Everybody
So,
over here.
Everybody.
Hello.
Hello, people.
There's a lot of people in it right now.
Yeah, we have a lot of children's spirits here. Things.
Soldier spirits.
Soldiers. I mean, things move. It's not just the typical hear something every now and
you
then.
might hear a
Like,
footstep or hear a knock that you can't
Like-
explain.
Rob sat downstairs and did an EVP session. In like 10 minutes, he had 6 Class A EVPs.
Yeah.
Like it goes, we've got major activity here.
Yeah,
That is
but we
awesome.
have some spirits from Waverly that are always with us.
They kind of come and go, check in on us. Sarah's here a lot.
I've never ran into you people there.
Well,
And, it's one of those things that happens,
Yeah.
in life. And, 2 ships passing in the night.
yeah,
type
well,
thing.
I mean, I started working there. I think the very first time I worked there was 2009. I worked there off and on from 2009 till 2020, and then came back in 21
Yeah,
for
for a little while.
a season.
And then that's
and-
when we figured out what
But
was
she
happening.
had been going there since 2009, at least once or twice a year, and we never met until 2019. So, you know, I mean,
How did you miss her?
I
You
love
must need
sheer
glasses.
luck.
Holy cow.
This broadcast will end at some point.
And it's your
In a different tune.
it's awesome to have a woman that has a sense of humor, you know that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Ernie?
Yes, and hers is so great.
It makes him angry because I'm wittier than him.
You are not wittier than me.
Oh, I can outwit you
You
any day,
can't
buddy.
outwit. You couldn't outwit a paper bag.
hmm
Anyway, let's talk about
Okay.
something else before I get into
So Billy Creek Village. What is that?
That is a place that we just visited one time. Rob and Sarah with Get Haunted had the place for the night.
Get haunted.
Yes, it is a. It's up next
billboard,
to up next to Indiana State Sanatorium in Rockville, Indiana,
Okay.
and Billy Creek Village. It's like a little town square basically, and some of the buildings there are original to Billy Creek, the small town that's now gone and forgotten, and other buildings. It's like I say, there's a general store, there's a school building, there's a couple of churches, some residences, a couple other like mercantile stores and things like that around there. They have been moved in from other locations in Indiana. They're fully intact historic buildings that all have their own little story. Most of them have a paranormal story attached to them. And we went up there, about a month ago, I guess, with Rob and the Get Haunted gang. Sarah, Joe B was there. Several of us, Trevor, several of us were up there from Get Haunted. And we had the place to ourselves for the night. And that place delivered. We had a lot of great activity that night. So, yeah, it's a really cool place that I'd like to get to again and spend more time. We had to leave early that night because I had to work the next day. But
it was one of those places that when I was going ahead and looking at certain things that we could talk about that seemed to catch my eye for some reason, and I thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, I recommend anybody that gets a chance to go check it out. It's a really cool, it's a unique idea too, to move in, several different buildings into one location.
Yeah, I think
So you've got all these different.
we had something happen in almost every building we were in. I don't think we went in any place that wasn't active.
No, every building we did.
And they had Bigfoot
anytime.
too.
Yeah.
Did you guys use a rotation type thing to move people?
Well, we all kind of stayed together for the most part.
Oh, you did.
Like, 10 of
Yeah,
us.
it wasn't like an event or anything. We were just there with friends, just hanging out. So
Yeah,
some people kind of wandered off on their own, but it wasn't.
for the most part, we all kind of stayed together and just we did big group sessions of EVP sessions or various things. We put out some equipment and everything, but we're not big on equipment anyway. So I kind of liked how we did it.
Mhm.
Really.
You just work on yourself?
Yeah, we've got equipment, and I can't tell you the last time we brought it out of the closet.
We have people send us equipment manufacturers and people that make their own, like garage equipment and stuff. Send us equipment all the time. Say, hey, check this out. I made it for you guys. And we're like, thank you. That's awesome.
We don't know what to do with it.
We probably won't use it very much because we just go in, we look, listen, we'll take some pictures, we'll run some recordings.
What was that thing we gave to Todd and Leanne that we never even got out of the box? That somebody
EDI Plus.
EDI Plus. Like there are people that want an EDI Plus so bad. We were given one for free, and we gave it to Todd and Leanne. We were like, we're never going to use it.
That's a beautiful piece of equipment because it covers so many different categories.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Like Rob,
I love it.
Rob said you claimed you had to work, but you were scared. That's why we had to leave.
Rob scares me is what it is.
Is this guy after you or what?
He's
our cult leader.
he
We're part of
runs,
He's the leader?
he runs the Get On
He runs the
Network.
Get Haunted Network. He's our fearless cult leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta meet him sometime.
Yeah,
That's
he's
for
a great
sure.
guy. Trust me.
He's got a good sense of humor. That's the thing, when you talk about favorite locations and you talk about the things that you have worked on for how many years now with Waverly?
Well, I mean, like I say, I started there. The first time I went to work there was as a haunted house actor. That was in 2009, in the fall of 2009, and then just kept coming back and coming back, and so I spent a total of around about 12 years working there off and on. But prior to that, I had started a website called True Paranormal. Prior to that, I had been, doing this, I guess, as a very, very small part of what the things that I would do. I would go to haunted locations and go on ghost tours or investigations, things like that. Denise, on the other hand, she's been doing this her whole life.
My parents, actually, I grew up in the hollers of West Virginia, and everything was all about what was in them hollers when the sun went down, and urban legends. And my entire family were gifted and spiritual, so I was never taught to fear the paranormal. It was like common everyday dinner conversation, and I had parents that were young when they had me, so they would be out looking for the Mothman or whatever in the middle of the night, and I would be with them. So
I'd be trying to sneak into abandoned sanitariums.
I've been snuck
when
out.
you were 2.
Yeah, I was sneaking into abandoned sanitariums when I was very small. So this has been my entire life. So I don't know a time without this existence.
So that's where Point Pleasant came in, huh?
Mm-hmm.
She's from.
I'm from right, maybe
Buffalo.
40. Yeah, Buffalo is where I was born and raised, but maybe 45 minutes from Point Pleasant, if that long, 30, 45 minutes. Yeah. I've been in the TNT bunkers before they closed the TNT bunkers.
Okay. Wow.
There used to be a sanitarium down around there called Lakin. It was a sanitarium, and at one point they called it a home for wayward boys. I'm not sure what all it was, but it's
poor home.
It sat there abandoned for a long time, and I snuck in there a lot as a kid, and then as a teenager, and then a young adult until they finally tore it down. But it's down there right near Mothman country.
I know. You guys are probably familiar with the series that was done by Greg and Dana Newkirk, Hellier.
Yeah, Hellier. Yes.
And I right away took a liking to it because I knew all the boys that were from that side of Kentucky and all the guys that we fished against from West Virginia and Ohio, that whole triangle area there. And we used to always badmouth each other before the tournament started as far as, you've got this and you've got that. And I say, well, and then one guy, I said, well, you guys got the Mothman. And the guy would go, shit, we got the Grays. What is your impression, or what is your belief as far, or what have you seen concerning the Grays? Have you seen them?
First,
something was on our bed just a little while ago, and I don't know what it was. Like right before this podcast.
Actually, we're on a phone call with Rob.
We actually have already called Rob. I went into the bedroom thinking that it was one of the children. We don't have children. We have like an 18-year-old son here and older children. But like I said, the children in this house are very, very active. And I had the hallway light on. The bedroom was dark. I was taking a laundry basket into the bedroom. I had just a little bit of ambient light. I heard something that sounded like somebody moving on the bed. You can hear when somebody rolls over.
It creaks a little bit.
I heard the bed, and I turned around and looked, and it looked like a child in a diaper, but it had that grayish tint to its skin, and it had the big head and long arms and long legs. And it sat up and looked at me. I looked at it, and then it crawled off the side of the bed. It crawled like it was a child. Like I thought it was a child, but the more I started thinking of the appearance, I was like, what did I just see? So I let out a little holler. I don't normally get scared. I deal with a lot of stuff all the time, but this one kind of freaked me out a little bit. I flipped that light on, threw that laundry basket down, and was back to the top of the steps in like 5 seconds. I don't even know how I got the light turned on and got out of the room.
Yeah. And she was standing there at the top of the, she yelled for me, and I was downstairs. I came to the bottom of the steps. I came to the bottom of the steps and looked up, and she was like, let me catch my breath. You know, I don't get scared, but let me catch my breath. Did I pee in my pants? And, you know, so then she told me.
What do you think about, what do you think it had on? You think it was a diaper? There's no diapers in your house.
Isn't stopping and inspecting.
No.
So I don't really know what I saw, but I can go back to a story of back to my days at West Virginia and my parents doing what they did. My mother used to work late into the night because she worked like an hour away from home, and I would be home with my father. And so she would be coming in after I was supposed to be in bed. Now, I grew up in a haunted house, and for whatever reason, I don't think I was as freaked out about it as my parents were, even though they were ghost hunters too. I was sleeping downstairs, which I had a bedroom upstairs, but I was downstairs, supposed to be asleep in the bed, like in the living room of all places, you know, West Virginia. I ain't going to even go there. Anyway, I remember my dad was watching TV. I was supposed to be asleep. It was probably 11:30 at night. My mother comes running in the front door saying, this thing's following me home. There's something out here. You got to come out here and look at this. And we were kind of catty-corner to, like, there was a church right across the street. And then catty-corner right beside that church was like a big field. It was like a little parking lot of field. And then over the hill down to like a baseball diamond. Like it was a big park over there. And my dad jumps up. My dad actually broke his toe because my mom, he was barefoot. He wasn't planning on going outside. My mom comes running in so frantic. He goes running outside. Well, I'm supposed to be asleep. So I'm laying there listening. And what I gather when they come back in, my mom's talking about, you know, this thing. And she said UFO. She said it looked like a UFO hovered above their car when they hit the Buffalo city limits, which is a little dinky. If you blink, you're going to miss it town. And it stayed above the car, just a few feet above the car. And it followed them because a friend was dropping her off. It followed them. And when she got to the house, she jumped out and ran inside, and it kind of hovered over there, over that park for a minute, and then it zipped off. Well, by the time my dad got out there, he didn't see anything. So it wasn't that he didn't believe her, but at the same time, he was like, is this woman crazy? Did she actually see something? Greg's got a gray behind him somewhere.
Yeah, so, kind of sneak in the room on him.
So, you know, they're having like this debate because he's wanting to think my mom's nuts. And my mom's like, I'm telling you what I saw. So, you know, they go through that husband-wife thing that, you know, most husbands and wives have gone through.
Not us, dear.
The next day.
You guys make a great couple, though. Really. I've noticed ever since, you know, you got married, it was like, wow.
The next day, I go out into the front yard to play. I'm just out there playing, and 3 Army helicopters come over our house, go over that parking lot in that field, and they're side by side, and they're just hovering there. And they were there for probably 10 minutes. And my mom and dad both come out of the house, and they're both standing there looking at them. And I just remember, you know, I didn't at the time understand. But as I've gotten older, I understand now that there was a reason that 3 Army helicopters were over that field the day after
no military base
this happened.
There or anything.
So, you know, what did she see that night? I don't know. She didn't actually see a gray, but that happened. So there's been encounters.
There's such a big connection, I think, between both elements, between the paranormal, between spirits and aliens, you know, the interdimensional beings, if either way you want to put it.
Absolutely.
And when way back in the 2000 was when or 2001, one of the two, is when we started that tour. It was the first time we went down to Cave Run. And, you know, after you get done screwing around with these guys, you know, you having a few beers or whatever, you know, and you're talking before dinner, and, you know, you go, wow, well, where did you live? And he goes, well, I live right outside of Moorhead on the hills. And, you know, behind her house, you had the backyard, and then you had the hill, and you had a cave. And I says, you had a what? He says, we had caves. And that's where we got our coal to heat our house.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I says, how far did the caves go in? And he looks at me and goes, you think I'm going to go and find out?
Right.
You know, it was like crazy. But, you know, that's what really fueled me as far as their series Hellier and everything, because all this stuff came together.
Exactly. If you've read Brandon Alvis and Mustafa Gadalari's book, Elements of a Haunting, they talk about things like running water, limestone,
Traumatic
cave
events,
systems, traumatic events,
railroad
railroad
cross.
tracks, because they're like a unending conductor, you know. And the state of Kentucky and this region, Kentucky, Tennessee, Southern Indiana, Ohio, has like the world's largest cave system. You know, the Mammoth Cave system is all under Kentucky and all throughout this region.
And goes all the way to Missouri.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
We've got all of that here. And like you said, you believe there's a connection between all I guess the trifecta, the UFOs, the cryptids, and the spirit world. I absolutely agree. And I think, you know, what's something we've noticed is a lot of times when you have one kind of activity, you also have the other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Pac-Man Paranormal, we've said this a few times, came to be because we were hunting ghosts and a Bigfoot found us.
Right.
We were not Bigfoot people. We were not Pac-Man Paranormal. We were just two people in a cemetery one night when a Bigfoot came up on
We
us.
did not disbelieve, but it was nothing that either one of us had ever really shown much. I mean, I guess interest. We had interest because we'd read books and stuff, but it wasn't our thing. We weren't really versed on it real well. We didn't even know what Bigfoot activity was, you know, what to look for.
Good point, Bob.
We didn't disbelieve, but we just weren't real big on believing either, I guess you could say.
Right. But then, you know, after that night, you know, we found ourselves on a live stream broadcast called Ghost Hunters Meet Bigfoot.
With Bigfooters. They like put us with,
you know, expert Bigfooters.
and we had to have a name. They said, what's the name of your team? We were like, we don't have a team. They were like, well, you need to have a team. So we're looking at each other like, okay, we got to come up with, because we were just two friends at the time. We weren't even a couple. We were two friends that were going out and hunting ghosts together. And we were like, okay, we need to come up with a name for this fast.
My nickname has been Pac-Man for years. And Pac-Man in the game, what'd he do? He chased ghosts. So we thought Pac-Man Paranormal. There you go. So that's how the name came to be. And that's how Pac-Man Paranormal came to be. But since we have, you know, gotten deeper into the cryptozoology and all of those things, we've realized, well, I mean, we've been out Bigfooting and seen UFOs. And, you know, I mean, it seems like when one happens, if your eyes are open, the other happens. And maybe a third.
Fairies.
That's something I would laugh at people who would talk about fairies.
I believed in fairies before I believed in Bigfoot.
I used to think she was the biggest idiot in the world for believing in fairies. And I'm like, you're crazy. Well, then I saw one. And I'm like, holy shit.
Was it about that big?
The first one I saw was about that big. I mean, it was teeny tiny. And but we've seen them several, like when we've been out big, you know, people, if you read Bigfoot encounters, people talk about orbs of light, tiny orbs of light.
Fairies are tiny.
Look a little closer. Look a little closer. You'll see some legs dangling down from those little tiny balls of light. And I never this, I would have
Are they
thought
moving along like that? That's the way they move through the sky.
just kind of dragging
They
their
just-
feet like a bug, actually.
Yeah, they just kind of. Well, I mean, we had one downstairs. Greg Bakken.
Yeah,
was
Greg
here.
Bakken and Shar were here
visiting
and
and,
saw one in our dang parlor downstairs.
Greg got ready to reach out and smack it. And he said, "Wait a minute!" And we all got to looking, and 4 of us are down looking, and it's like a little Tinkerbell looking thing, and then it kind of floated off, and we're just all in awe, looking at each other, and it
Like,
just,
that
poof,
just
it
happened?
just disappeared.
You see, he'll never mention that to me.
Ask
Oh,
him.
ask
Ask
him.
him.
He
He'll
will.
tell you.
I mean, that was supposed to be funny because it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
How can a guy your size be,
He
talking about fairies?
was the first one that said, "That's a fairy." He was the first one to call it out.
Yeah.
He's an awesome guy. I've had a great relationship with him on shows, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's-
he stayed here 4 days. He has activity.
Yeah.
He saw Bigfoot up at the fort. He went out.
His first actual Bigfoot sighting was at the fort.
He went with us, and then he went with us out to Squatch Man's forest with Squatch Man and had experiences there. So him and
Yeah.
Shar had a lot of experiences when
They had a heck of a weekend.
Anybody? Yes, Rob. He was here for like 4 days.
4 days. Yep.
Yeah, she's a beautiful lady too. Shar is.
Shar's
Yeah, we
awesome.
love both of them. They're like family. So,
No, the first time I actually got to meet him was up at the Anderson house up in Minnesota, and we went up and did a weekend up there, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I've been a great fan of his, watching his show 10 o'clock on Sunday nights when he had Ghost
Mhm.
Box Live,
Yeah.
and I don't know how many nights I spent. Oh no, I gotta wait another 10 minutes, and I'm supposed to be in bed like an hour ago. It's like
Same with us. Same with us. We still catch him on his radio show.
yeah, we don't
every
catch
chance we
him.
get.
Don't catch him as often as we used to because we can't stay up that late every night.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We've been tugging back and forth because I've been trying to get him back on, because I have another show that I do on Wednesdays,
Mhm.
which is basically when Spirit Connect, and we do Estes,
Mhm.
and we do it from different places. So when you're talking about conductivity, like the railroad tracks and things like that, it's one of the reasons I started it that way, was to show that there is a connection. If you start coming up with the same words, and you're talking about 1,000 miles away,
Right.
Mhm.
there's really something to that. And I think it's important to continue to do that kind of research on my end, just because of the way we get it done.
Well, our best friends, Todd and Leanne Eskew, we will often, because they run the Bell Witch Cave tours, which they only do like once
They
a
do
month.
one a month.
From like May till November. But they have been like at even the Bell Witch Cave, and we've been up here 2.5 hours away from them, and they'll call us, or vice versa. If we're somewhere and they're not, we'll call them, and we can kind of do sessions back and forth. And
There you go.
And
that
get answers. One time we were at the Lotes house in Franklin, Tennessee.
they were at
They were at
Willow's Peak.
Willow's Weep in Indiana, and they called, and we did a video call, and they asked a question. They said, "Where's Ernie and Denise right now?" And clear as a bell, the response they got was Lotes house. And I said, "Where's Todd and Leanne?" And the spirit said, "The Weep." That's the nickname for Willow's Weep. And I mean, it was
crazy.
it was pretty awesome. I mean, we got several different responses that, coincided with things, but that was
I
was
think it
pretty
was
amazing.
the first time we had done it too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly, Mariah. I agree with what you're saying 100%.
Our favorite spirit actually
Yes,
told
I and that's the one in Waverly,
Yes.
Sarah.
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 Yeah. She has said that, it's, and
Come
it
on.
sounds crazy when you talk about, she has said this, because it sounds like I sat
No.
down and had a conversation with
No.
her. but no, I mean, over the course of that 12 years I spent at Waverly, I would go up there every chance I had and try to get, another phrase or another sentence or just another word from her, something. And in piecing it together over 12 years, one of the things that she told me was it's kind of like being cloned, where you never miss anything.
You can be everywhere and everywhere all at once.
If your granddaughter, who you never got to see in life, is walking down the aisle and you want to be there, you can be there. Well, at the same time, you can be at Niagara Falls just watching the falls if you want to. You never miss anything. That's a long story. It's a whole
other book that he's not
But,
written.
but everybody that's in the paranormal, for what they believe in, feels the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I think that's the gel of the community. And I think if people keep that in mind every time they run into somebody that they don't particularly care for.
Yeah.
They got to remember that part.
Like, people talk about para-unity, and it's become a bad word with a lot of people. A lot of people are like, oh, para-unity doesn't exist. And, my philosophy on that is para-unity is within all of us. It's how we put it out,
Yes.
whether or not we bring it into existence or not.
That's how we treat each other.
Exactly.
Right.
But
that's the unbelievable part that I was going to go ahead and ask a real stupid question, and that was your favorite pieces of paranormal equipment, but I guess that one won't work.
Mine is
do you use your gifts a lot?
Probably the most. Yeah.
I mean, the first thing we'll do anytime we're at any location, I mean, even our own home, if we walk into our home after being away for a while.
The Romulus 2000.
The Romulus 2000. Yeah.
It's
Eric's in the house.
I know you'd show up eventually, Eric.
But no, the first thing we'll do when we go to a new, like Billy Creek, when we were up there a couple weeks ago, we walk into a room, a building, whatever.
Fill it out.
And just stand there and feel it and listen. Walk around to different areas of the room or areas of the house or whatever.
We will record, like just with our phones. We don't have anything fancy. We'll do a quick EVP, but we're not people that will sit and record 2 hours because then we have to
running around,
2 hours,
doing an hour of setting up equipment and saying, "Oh, we're going to put a Ovilus over here and a REM pod there and put the thermal camera back here." And this, no,
we both lived those days. And it's not about that for us anymore. And we have been in this long enough to know no matter how foolproof anything is that we put out there, somebody's going to try to debunk it or say it's fake. And we don't care if they think it's fake or not. We'll tell you what we got. Either you believe us or you don't, because it doesn't make us any money either way. We're not trying to be famous. We're not trying to be rich. I mean, heck, we'd all be happy if we got rich from this, but that's just not going to happen. So it's all about our experiences and filling the spirits out and being a voice for them when we can. And we're very protective of our spirits. And it's what it's about, is saving the locations and fighting for the spirits.
Exactly.
Do you know Eric?
Eric has been one of the most supportive people that we have ever ran across.
First day that we started Save Waverly Hills, he has not missed a single podcast. No matter where we've been, he has been at every one of them.
Yep, he always chimes in and always has something nice to say. He's a great guy.
Yeah, Myra, that's true. We actually have a clause in our paperwork for the fort, anybody at Fort Duffield, that they are not allowed to use the word demon or even refer to demon. And if they do, they will be removed from the premises. And if it shows up on their social media later, we will sue them.
Yeah.
That's a way of handling that.
So, because our Waverly Hills effort should prove to everybody it's about the spirits for us. And they're like family, and we will go to bat for them 100% any day.
Absolutely.
I can remember those shows, the stuff that was going on, and you guys, when you were going around gaining support on the way you guys felt, and that was something that I really highly respected as far as being in the community is concerned, because you stepped out, you know, you were out front. You weren't in the pack.
Right. We were leading the pack.
You were out in front, you know, and that is a great thing. That to me, it's a major accomplishment.
Well, we
And you know,
appreciate all the support. It was probably the roughest 3 years of our lives. I don't think people really understood the toll it took on us behind the scenes.
Right.
We altered our entire existence, our entire lives for that. I went to work travel nursing to make up the extra income so he could quit his job, and he was running a business. He gave it all up so that he could be the front runner spokesperson for Save Waverly Hills so that we could be on our game 24/7. And it was 24/7. There were hundreds, and that's not an exaggeration, hundreds of messages coming through our phones every day. Phone calls. We were being bashed by people in the community we never even
big
met.
name people that
Big
we
name
never
people.
met that were calling us liars when we had the proof in front of us. And it's like, no, we're not the liars here.
I mean,
You know.
it was to the point we were having to look over our shoulder when we left the house. We were being followed. There were tracers on some phones. There were people calling, pretending to be other people trying to get information out of us. I mean,
We wound up getting sued.
we got sued. I mean, there were things
We
crazy,
won in the end.
but we had to stay. I mean, it was tough. Fortunately, we had each other, because
And-
there were some days that I would break and think I can't do this anymore, and he would step up and hold me up. And then there were days he would break and think he couldn't do it anymore, and I'd step up and be like, "We've come this far, we got to finish." So it was hard on our marriage. It was hard on our children. But we stood together as a family, because even our kids, you didn't see our kids, but our kids had our back behind the scenes too. And that we missed out on things with our kids, but they understood why we were doing what we were doing, and they supported us.
You know, I wanted to come up with a whole bunch of different questions besides this, but I think this is the important part. This is what, if there's people out here that are in the community that haven't heard about you guys before, this is what they need to hear, because this is what's going to carry the paranormal in the next 10 or 20 years. And you know, like, kudos to you guys, because it's amazing what you've done. I know there's a lot of people around me that would have backed off real fast, you know, but
We
you stood up.
we lost friendships. We gained a lot of friendships. We gained more than we lost in the end.
Absolutely.
And Bob, he said your friends had your back too. Yes, Bob, you
Absolutely.
did. And
We had an army.
We had an army. That's why we called it Tina and Charlie's Army, because we came out with just the two of us swinging. And actually, the first time when we finally figured out what was going on, and Ernie said, "I'm going to call Charlie directly," because we were getting pieces of information fed to us that weren't
Told
right.
lies.
And he reached out to Charlie, and Charlie was just like, "I don't think I can fight this. Tina's sick. I just don't think I can do this. This is not something I'm going to worry about, because I don't have it in me." And we were like, "You take care of Tina. We'll fight."
Well, when you guys went ahead and said, well, you know, people were saying it's sort of off limits, you know, that's when I said, I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
until this is rectified and the right people get back where they belong, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
Tina and
great.
Charlie are back now. So
Yeah, Tina and Charlie are back, and Waverly's an amazing place. And anybody that wants to go to Waverly,
You guys still go back over there?
we have not been. The last time I was there was when we had the premiere of the Haunted Discoveries episode that we filmed up there.
But no, and I mean, we've got too many irons in the fire. It's too much for us to try to. So we know that it's in good hands. There's no need for us to be there. We did what we needed to do. We fought for what we wanted to fight, and we said it the whole time we were fighting. This is not for us to gain anything. It's to get the building back where it belongs. We got it back where it belonged, and we stepped away to do our own thing.
That's awesome. That's what, you know, when you think about it, you guys had the perfect plan. And I'm not saying plan in the respect that you thought that something else was going to happen. It's just restoring what had to be restored and getting on with it.
Getting Tina and Charlie back was our goal from day one on that. And
I mean, we tried to explain to people, even people that thought that they believed what the other side was saying. It was like, whether you believe them or whether you don't, Tina and Charlie own the property. They own the building. It doesn't matter if they get back in there and want to bulldoze the whole thing tomorrow. It's theirs. They are the ones that bought it. They're the ones that have put their blood,
the
sweat,
ones
and
that
tears
saved it from the wrecking ball to begin with.
It's like nobody else has the right to tell them what they should or shouldn't be able to do with it.
Right.
Yeah, that seemed to be the big thing in the community, you know, and I can remember when it first started, and you guys were going around and talking it on various shows, and you know, it was like, I hope it happens, you know. It's and you guys were the little guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We, like I say, we had some really big name people coming after us and, you know, telling us to just shut up basically and stay out of it. You know, it's business. They're going to do what they're going to do. And it's like, well, I'm just telling you that what you're doing is wrong, but whatever. So anyway, it turned out the way it turned out because that was what we were hoping. And then we didn't have a plan for what we were going to do afterwards.
Yeah, we didn't know.
Everything just kind of fell into place with, you know, I mean, we were looking for a house. We found this house.
Yeah, this house happened before
the end of
all of that. And then the fort happened before the end of all of that. And we were like, we can't do Waverly and the fort. And I mean, I knew I wouldn't be a guide at Waverly because I needed to keep travel nursing to make the money I was making. And there was no way I could do that and do Waverly. So I was like, if you stay on at Waverly, that's fine. But then I was like, but if I'm traveling and you're at Waverly, who's going to take care of the fort? So we got the Waverly where it needed to be and said it's time for us to move on to greener pastures.
Do you work for the federal government doing that?
No.
Do you go to any of the federal hospitals?
I do I'm not traveling now, but I went with a travel company and basically you work with a nurse recruiter.
Different hospital corporations have contracts that they give to certain companies and you get to look through those and see which ones you might want to interview for and take. And I was fortunate enough to be able to work in Indianapolis and re-sign a contract there for 2 years. I was able to I would do 13-week assignments and they kept asking me to re-sign. And it was only 2.5 hours away. So I was able to go work 3 days a week and then come home. And it gave me enough income that he was able to not have to work during that time period.
That's great because the reason I'm asking is I was at the end of April or it was the first week or two of May and I got pneumonia. And, you know, I ended up being treated and then it didn't work. And then I ended up going to the VA hospital up here in North Chicago and went up to the 4th floor and I met 3 different nurses that were all, they were all travelers too.
Yeah.
There was a lot of travelers because COVID, the money was really, really good during COVID. And
a lot of nurses quit during COVID too.
Yeah.
Right.
So mandated vaccines and things like that.
But, yeah.
So you guys, for some reason I wrote down Indiana Paranormal Bigfoot Conference.
Yeah.
We got the Indiana Bigfoot Conference the last weekend of September that we're speakers at. Ernie will be speaking. I'll be sitting in the audience heckling him.
Yeah.
You're going to be throwing tomatoes at him or what?
Yeah, she will.
Probably.
She will. She's evil.
I'm going to buy a big old pair of bloomers to throw up on stage is what I'm going to do.
Mariah asked who I look up to, or who we look up to in the field, either famous or not. You want to go first? I got several.
That's a good question.
Golly. I can't really say. I mean, it depends on what you consider famous. I consider them famous. I really look up to Mustafa and Brandon and Kevin because I have seen, and Craig Owens, all of them that's part of that
The
whole
Haunted Discoveries
thing.
crew.
Because I've worked with them and seen what they do, and
I know that they're legit.
They are legit. And Rob, yes,
I was going to say, Rob.
You're one of the ones that we're going to mention. Rob and Sarah have put their Leo. Rob and Sarah have put their heart and soul into the Get Haunted Network, which is what
it is just to bring people together. It's not some, we joked about the cult thing, but they
got accused of being a cult.
Bring people together and give everyone a voice in the paranormal, no matter what your approach is, what your techniques are, what your ideology is, or anything.
We were asked for years, we have been asked to join people's networks, and we kept saying, no, we're not going to be part of a network. We would run our stuff through Pac-Man. We did Paranormal Warehouse for a while, then we did Parahouse, and then after that, we're like, we're done with all this networking stuff. We don't want anybody telling us what to do. We want to do things our way. And and we saw Rob and Sarah and what they were doing, and was like, that's a community we can get behind. Let's give it a try. And you know why Rob's saying that?
That's enough. The show's about over. We haven't got time for this.
Oh, we got talking.
But yeah, I mean, Rob, Sarah, my husband,
Todd and Leanne
Todd
Eskew,
and Leanne,
Beth Allen.
We've
got a lot of family, and I mean Tim Comer.
Yeah, there's
too many to mention, really. But
Rob, I'm going to print.
But I looked up
you off and
the kind of people I look up to in the field are people who
are real,
who are genuine,
and I don't mean real as in as far as their ghost hunting techniques. I mean people that are good people, good hearts, that care about people, care about the spirits, people that are in it for the right reason.
Yeah, not your people that are out there, with the clickbait and the check out our latest video, Demon Caught on Film.
I was wondering what he was doing. I was going to say, that's an OnlyFans page.
Those people I don't really respect.
I didn't know. I thought he might try to eat me.
No,
okay.
You've
You're
seen
right.
the little flyers for the YouTube videos and all that stuff. It's like, I don't respect that. You're fake, and you're not doing it. I don't know. You're in it for the wrong reasons, is the way I see it. But
so what do you see for the fort for the next 5 years?
I really hope that we can get the word out about the fort, because it's a newly opened location. We opened it last June, I think, was when we actually signed the contract. Didn't have our first investigation up there until the end of July last year. And we haven't had that many people actually book it for private overnights.
But the ones that have are like intrigued and come, like
they come to our public events.
We have public events. We started doing public events to try to get people that didn't want to just book something they didn't know about, hadn't been there. It's $400. So we were like, let's do some public events. It's cheaper. If just a single person wants to come, they can do it. They come to every one. The same people keep coming back, and a few of them have actually done overnights up there, and they love it, and they're wanting to do more overnights next year. So it's like, if we could just get the word out.
Yeah, but I would like to be able to contribute enough money to the fort, because all the money that we raise goes into the fort.
Yeah,
we're not making any profit
off of it.
I would like to get to the point where we can buy a cannon to put up there. At one time there were at least 12 cannons around the perimeter of the fort. There's no cannon there now. The fort walls have deteriorated pretty badly. I'd like to be able to contribute to some restoration of the fort walls. I'd like to be able to contribute to
replica buildings.
More replica buildings. We've got 3 of them up there now. I'd like to see more. At one point there were 80 buildings inside the perimeter of the fort. I'd like
Are the walls brick or what?
It's an earthen fort. They're just dirt. They were originally, when the fort was built, It was a wooden wall on the inside with dirt piled up against it. They were 19 foot tall, and about 7 foot wide for, guards to walk the perimeter on the top of the wall. And, it's eroded over to, the wooden walls have collapsed many, many years ago, and the walls are starting to sag down and sink down, and it needs some restoration. I'd like to see electricity up there. I'd like to see running water up there. We don't have those things right now.
With the things that we have managed to do so far, though, we do have a new pavilion up there because it is an outdoor location. There's a pavilion at the bottom of the hill. Now there's a pavilion at the top in case it does rain or something, which, we have a weather policy in the paperwork for anybody booking that we'll work with you on all of that. But we've also, because of the amount of traffic that we've now got going back there, we managed to get a grant to get the road
The
paved.
city had been applying for that grant for years. It finally went through last year. Got a new road all the way back to the pavilion at the bottom of the hill. There's a lot of improvements that we've got in mind for the fort. That's what I would like to see. I mean, Haunted Discoveries filmed up there. That should be airing this spring.
I think
they
when
had
that-
some amazing,
I think
caught
when
some
it
amazing things.
airs, we're going to have more people interested.
Yeah. But just getting the word out about the fort so that we can get more traffic up there and put more money back into it and restore it. A lot of these battlefields and forts are amazing. You go to Gettysburg and there's monuments everywhere you look. There's cannons everywhere you look. There's all of this. You go to a lot of these, Perryville, right over here near Bardstown, Kentucky, very, bloodiest battle, single day battle of the Civil War was right over here. And that's cannons everywhere, replica buildings, all kinds of things. Everything's fully restored. I'd like to see something in that direction.
Would you have to go ahead and make it a historic location to get any of that?
It's owned by the city of West. We have a contract with the city of West Point, and it's owned by the city. And I'm on the board of directors with the Friends of Fort Duffield, which is the volunteer group, the 501c3 that raises funds to help with restoration and preservation. And we are trying to get some new, fresh ideas at going for government grant money and things of that nature to maybe help with things. Trying to look for different ways, to make those things happen. So hopefully we'll be able to do.
Could you go to the federal level on that, or would it have to stay at the state?
I would have to defer to someone who knows more about that because I've never done anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And like when I worked at Waverly, they had the Waverly Hills Historical Society, the nonprofit that raised money there, and Waverly Hills was pretty much self-sustaining. They never went for any federal grant money or state money or anything like that because they had the haunted house, they had the constantly sold out tours and investigations that raised enough money they didn't have to do that. Well, Fort Duffield is not in that situation, so I need to look at those. We, as Friends of Fort Duffield and anyone wanting to help with Fort Duffield, we need to look at different angles maybe to try to get some funds.
Do you have any pictures or anything that you would have on a site that would show Fort Duffield?
We have a Facebook group called Hauntings of Fort Duffield. It's got photos of the fort. It's got one of the best full-bodied apparition photos you'll find anywhere. Was caught up there by Tim Cummer's group, Riverbend Paranormal out of Indiana. Okay. Carrie Doran caught the picture. We were just up there showing them around during daylight, and she caught a picture of a full-bodied apparition of a soldier.
Rob's
got a full-bodied apparition photo that he caught when he was up there.
And we were just walking around, not really investigating then either.
Yeah, just showing him around. His first time there too. And
And if you look up Fort Duffield, like the city of West Point has like the Civil War. I mean, we try to put some of the Civil War history on our Facebook group too. But if you Google
you
Fort
just
Duffield,
go to Fort Duffield. Fort Duffield itself has a Facebook page.
But they also, if you Google it, the city owns it, and there's a whole website for Fort Duffield. We have a website, but it's under construction.
Yeah, Rob.
If you wanted to post anything in the comments about that, or you have any links that you can put up for Fort Duffield in the link in the comments here, and then that way they could get a hold of you, or get a little better idea what we're all talking about right now.
Sure.
That would be great. And I am by myself, and right now
you're technologically challenged.
Yeah, we're technologically.
I'm like Greg Bakken.
I get it. Without
we're twins.
Greg.
You're just bigger than me. That's all.
Hello, Russell. I see you over there, buddy.
Is Russell here? Hi.
Yeah, Russell Reynolds in the house.
Share group.
Yeah, Denise is getting it into.
I'm trying here.
Look at Rob over here.
Look, he done got it. All right. Rob's our tech guy because he knows we're inept.
Well, that's our website that he's got shut down right now.
I don't even have. Wait a minute.
Yeah, Rob, that's a website that ain't up and running right now, buddy.
Oh, I see where that is now.
Hold on, I'm getting in the chat here and putting the.
Here, this is a pretty good question by.
He said, "Oops."
Right.
Okay, I just posted. He said, "Ban me." Okay, that is the Facebook group right there. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks for that, Bob. Mariah's question: has your experience with spirit changed any pre-existing ideology? You can go first.
I really can't say. That's not really a good question for me because this has been my whole life. Like, I don't know anything without spirit, so I don't know.
For me, as a kid, you're afraid of ghosts. I mean, I was never taught to fear them or anything, but it's the unknown. It's natural human instinct to be afraid of the unknown. Now that it's a known commodity for me, I know that they exist. I know that it's out there. And I have an understanding more of what they actually are, and that's just people. There is no reason to be afraid. I'm not afraid.
I guess we can say, if you want to consider spirit, the Sasquatch.
I was going to go there. Yeah.
All right, then I'll let you continue because we got the same opinion on that.
My thoughts on Bigfoot.
It's Beth.
Beth is in the house. Hello, Beth. I thought that if Bigfoot existed, it was a flesh and blood creature. It was a undiscovered North American primate, maybe the missing link.
I have the thought process that most people have had. If they're real, why hasn't anybody found a body?
All of those things, yeah. That was my thoughts on Bigfoot until meeting Squatch Man Greg Yost and actually experiencing them on several occasions. I know now that they are interdimensional spirits, spirits of the forest that mean you no harm. They're protectors of the forest, of the things in the forest, and even of the people in the forest, but don't cross them.
She's afraid of running out of cosmic rays.
Don't cross them.
Don't cross them. Don't go out there.
If you go out there with a gun,
looking to hunt one, because you might not come back.
You might be on the missing 411.
Exactly.
But if you're gentle and
it's just like,
if you're a good person, they're going to protect you.
Yeah. And
what do you think about people that bait them?
Baiting them
and
gifting are two different things.
Yeah, I don't think you're going
to. As far as leaving a big bushel of apples or
we leave gifts.
We leave gifts on the gifting.
And sometimes, Squatch Man has got several photos and things where he has left, a donut or, what all does he leave? Nuts, he leaves fruits, he leaves all kinds of things, granola bars, all kinds of different things out of his gifting stump. And there's times when he'll come back and those things will be gone and there'll be like a eagle feather or something left in their place, like they give him a gift back, and I mean, it's now baiting, like you're baiting for a wild animal, some game that you're hunting or something. That I think that is how you wind up on a missing 411 episode.
You probably did come across them at Casey Cemetery, because that's where we had one of our podcasts, Ghost Hunters Meet Bigfoot. They are out there. We seen the shimmer squatch out at the Casey Cemetery, which shimmer squatch is when they're cloaking. They kind of look like mirrored images moving through,
kind of like the Predator in the movie Predator.
Yeah, and Beth's saying, because Beth has gone out with us with Squatch Man a lot, and it's the raspberry filled donuts,
raspberry filled Krispy Kreme,
raspberry filled Krispy Kreme,
Krispy Kremes.
That's their favorite.
Hey, I'm going. I'll be there tomorrow.
Let me tell you a funny story about that.
That's the story I was going to tell.
You want to tell?
I'll let you tell it.
Okay. We spur of the moment one night, we called Greg. We had a van load of people, and Beth was there, Todd and Leanne Eskew, Denise and I, several others were just going down the road, and we said, let's call Squatch Man, see if he wants to meet us in the forest.
Yes, they throw things and they do the screams. So
yes.
You encountered the Squatch.
Yes, we've been there. Other side, trust me, we have been there. I know exactly what you're talking about. And so we said, well, we'll swing by Kroger and we'll get some donuts. We'd already passed Krispy Kreme, so we just went into Kroger. They had the assorted donuts, which had a dozen. There was one raspberry filled in that assortment.
Now there was another one that looked like it, but it was like a cream filled one.
Okay, so we take this package still sealed. It's taped shut. Box is closed. It's got the cellophane top in it. We take it out to the gifting stump. We leave it on the gifting stump. We go to another area of the forest trying to make contact. A couple hours later, we went back to the gifting stump. That cellophane in the box had a slit across the top of it.
Now, if this would have been just like a raccoon or something, possum, something like that, that box would have been destroyed, tore up, strung across.
Stuff would have been everywhere.
Yeah, that's not. It was that one slit.
Had a slit across the top of it. The one cream-filled donut had this huge thumbprint in it. I'm not lying to you. The raspberry-filled was the only one gone out of there. It was like they stuck their thumb in that one, like, is this raspberry-filled? Nope.
Nope.
And took that and was gone.
The only one gone.
Yes.
That's
and Beth she was there that night.
Beth was there. Again, there was a single hair. There was
one long black hair.
Which, let me see if I've got that over here. Hold on a minute. Give me a second.
Is
that no?
Oh, that's right. That's wild.
No, give me a second here. It was sitting here.
What'd you do with it?
It's here somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe.
Do you have it in a cellophane envelope or what?
We have got a whole hair somewhere. Somewhere, maybe.
Wad of hair that was found at a structure. Don't know where it's at.
I gotta find it. It might be here somewhere. I don't know. I've lost this stuff so many times. Nope.
Anyway, we got some
because I'm looking for it. While we
had some of it tested. Well, not us. Someone took a piece of it from us and sent it to a lab. The result came back that it was a unknown biologic sample, meaning that it did come from a living creature of some kind, but it did not match any DNA profiles of anything on record.
I don't even know where it went now. It was sitting right here, but
it's around here.
We can see if it's in there. There it is.
There it is. Boom. Right here in front of me.
Yeah.
In the drawer.
In front of him. Let me get it out. And we don't mind, usually people don't want to touch it, but we were just about.
We've already had some tested and.
Holy cow.
Now that's just a small piece because Squatch Man has the whole big wad. We got that off of Squatch Man's big wad of hair.
Yeah.
It doesn't really smell now, but when we first got it and it was fresh, it kind of smelled like
you had dug it out of the bottom of the outhouse.
urinated dog, urinated wet dog.
Yeah. A urinated wet dog. That's
Urinated wet dog.
That's a whole different idea right there.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go out and start looking for
If
sniffing
Rob,
a urinated wet dog.
if Rob is still over here, he was kind of afraid of him and came with us, and we took him out, and he had his first Squatch experience. Greg Bakken had his first experience with us, and they all came away with a different opinion of.
Yeah. Rob was scared to death of him. He thought they were going to rip him to shreds. Now
he knows.
It's like a spiritual experience. You should have seen him at Fort Duffield when there were like 20 of them out there in the woods, and 20 of us saw him at once.
Because we were having a public event.
Yeah, it was a public event at Fort Duffield. And Rob was like in tears. He was like, "This is unbelievable. This is beautiful." And because they were just standing there looking, like, "Hello, here we are. Here's your gift."
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Thank you."
That's awesome.
What? The first time we met Greg Yost, Squatch Man, we were like, okay, what's this guy going to do? He's this big Bigfoot guy that, is the expert, whatever. He knows everything about him, is what we'd been told. And we had never met him, didn't know anything about him other than what we'd been told. And we get there, and the guy walks out to the edge of the woods, holds his hands up. I'm expecting him to start beating on trees or howling or something like you see on TV, all that stuff, right? No. Walks out to the edge of the woods. He says, "My friends, show me your power. I would love to see you tonight. Can you show me your eyes? Anything. Just let us know you're here. We appreciate you. We love you." And Denise and I are looking at him and looking at each other like, what the hell have we gotten ourselves into? This guy's crazy. And then
seven trees fell in a circle all around us, safe distance, but it was like one over here, and then a couple of seconds later, one over here, and then a few seconds later, one over there, and the 7 of them all the way around us.
And we're like, okay,
that happened.
This works. That's a different approach. And so, every time since then, when we go to the forest with him, or if it's just us or Todd, Leanne, Beth,
we just talk to them like we
Rob,
do spirits.
You talk to them just like you do spirits, and they react. They
don't like.
They respond to that kind of energy.
They don't like white lights. We don't break out cameras. We don't try to record them. We don't use FLIR cameras because
they use IR because they can see the IR. I believe
we don't get any. If you take somebody out that's new at it and they try to pull all that stuff out, you don't have anything happen. It's when you decide to just live in the moment and experience it.
Then you will.
Then you have those moments.
Yeah, there's a lot of groups that do that same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And probably you guys you hit the nail on the head when you come up with that idea, because it's like, if they're that intelligent, they're not going to go ahead and fall for that.
No. People, how do we know they're not the elementals of the area, is what Mariah says.
They may be the elementals.
They very well may be the elementals of the area, and that's how we perceive them. That's how they show themselves to us, is as the classic Bigfoot.
I don't know who this is directed at, though. This one.
Beth trying to. That is.
She's talking about Greg Yost. But I'm sure you're loved by the forest people too, Greg, because you have a great energy. If you went out to the forest, I'm sure they would respect you and let you.
All the Canadian stuff that I've done ever since I've been a little kid, every year. And I was always fascinated by the noises and things that went on. And as we really got in the Lake of the Woods, which is the real big lake up there,
Mm-hmm.
Every year we fish it at least once for 10 days. and it's all musky. And we go around all these islands, and every island has a path that comes down to the water where the animals come down to drink. And you'd see these trees that would be like 10 or 12 inches in diameter that would be like snapped off, and they would be down like a gate. And my partner, I'd be going, and I'd say to my partner, I say, you see, Bigfoot's here. And my partner would go ahead and say, it's got to be a storm or something,
Yeah.
And you'd go around, that lake has 10,000 islands.
Yeah.
And I bet you that 90% of them that are big enough to support an animal or a species that size would be doing the same thing on every one of them.
Yeah.
I just sent you some photos. I know you're like us and you probably can't pull them up on screen, but you can see some of the structures we have found. Mariah, we are mediums.
Beth Allen is
Beth
one of the
Allen
best.
is medium. I mean, we don't feel the need to bring anybody else because we all have our own kind of gifts.
But
I love that idea, and
intuitives.
we have, who Scotty Rourke is, right?
I've heard the name. I can't say I know him, but I've heard the name.
He's my mentor, and I've been working with him now for probably 4 years now as a medium and that. And I find everything of this nature extremely fascinating, even though other people, you know what I mean. It's like, Grandpa's out of his mind.
He's done lost his marble.
Well, we'll tell you another thing that we never thought of, and that's another picture I'll send you right now too while I'm thinking about it. One thing that we never really thought of was, when you go to paranormal locations with ghosts, they can follow you home. Well, spend a weekend in the woods with a Sasquatch and let them take a liking to you. They will follow you home too. That picture I just sent you is a Bigfoot footprint that was in the dust in our dining room after we'd been out in the woods for a weekend.
I don't know how to go ahead and even get it up right now. How do
I don't know if you put it on the screen or not.
I know you click that present button and then share screen, but you got to have it opened up in a separate window.
Okay, and share screen.
Yeah, we're not tech savvy, so we don't know if we're.
I have never used that feature on our StreamYard because the one time I tried it, we couldn't see us anymore. It's like, wait a minute, all you're seeing now is my
six. There's 6 up there. This side will be able to see the contents to your screen. Okay. No, wait. Are these them? Let me put this down now. I blotted you guys out. I apologize.
Oh, it's all good. We're still here, I think.
7 Facebook, entire screen. No.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You look like me when I tried to do it. So it's
you might just have to have your own for your own viewing pleasure.
There you go. There we are a whole bunch of times. Look at that. Infinity.
What a Looney Tune, huh? You guys.
We are the same way.
I have done this exact thing. I can tell you.
I hit it before, and
you created a portal right there.
That's what I'm afraid of.
It's like having opposing mirrors, Greg. Come on now.
Yeah, you got that right. Well, now I'm stuck on
it. You done broke Greg's podcast.
I didn't break it. He broke it.
You was trying to talk him into doing
it. I broke it by myself.
You suggested it.
See, we come in and all hell breaks loose.
I'm blaming Beth.
Beth?
It's Beth's fault.
Well, that's all that's doing is going down. This is crazy, people. Everybody said, well, all I have to do is hit that one button and you'll be right back.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, Buffy.
There's Buffy right there.
Buffy, we done come in and broke the whole damn thing.
That's okay.
I touched nothing.
Well, maybe Bigfoot did it.
Maybe.
He might have. He
Hey,
didn't
Bigfoot,
want to.
can you help us get this off of here?
Yes. My friends.
Removed from stage.
Yes. There.
Hey.
All right.
Well,
Whoa!
Hopefully no demons came through that portal.
I hope so. I don't think I have any over here. I don't. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that end of it. You know, like the Johnson boys. I'm trying to. Who was the young gentleman that was working with one of the Johnsons from up there, and now he's stepped out of the paranormal for a while. He was a demonologist.
Oh gosh, sure. I couldn't tell you.
I'll be honest with you. I don't watch any of the paranormal shows. I don't know.
Even the ones we're on.
No,
I have not watched anything I'm on.
but he was studying with one of the Johnsons, I think.
Mm.
Anyway, he went ahead and said that one of them, one of the Johnsons had said that he had been on like 49 or 50 real demonic cases. And out of those 49 or 50, there were only 2 that he would classify as being demonic.
Well, like I said, I've done this my entire life. I'm 51 years old, and I might have encountered 3 or possibly 4 that I would think could have been demonic. And even then, they would have been lower level. They were not to the extreme of what the TV portrays.
Right. And we have seen, and Beth knows the one case from Brushy Mountain Penitentiary, which I'm not going to say was demonic.
And we're not saying that it was a Brushy Mountain thing. We think
it came with someone that was in the group. Because
Brushy's a great location. We don't want to make it
there's
sound
nothing
like
demonic there.
but that.
We had an experience up there that she was a part of that was anyone who would witness that would be freaked out by it, because things happened that are physically impossible for a human to do, and just totally next level things.
But we still aren't saying it's demonic.
Still not convinced it was demonic. And even then, based on talking to real exorcists, not TV exorcists or self-proclaimed exorcists, it was just a fraction of what a true demonic case actually entails. So, these claims of demonic activity in YouTube videos or TikTok or whatever, 99% of them are nonsense. I can tell you without seeing them, because there's not that many actual cases out there that truly have demonic.
As long as you brought up Brushy Mountain, if I could ask, was it down in Solitaire?
No, it was the cafeteria.
Cafeteria.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had a woman, basically, they have run a human pendulum, which we do that all the time. We know how to open it up, how to close it out properly. There was nothing, it was closed out because one of the guys in the middle he started, we know how to watch. And if somebody starts looking a little too affected or whatever, we don't let it keep going. We close it down and, get
them out of there.
Get them out of there. And he basically was outside saying, I think there's, nobody else needs to go back up to the cafeteria. I saw a demon. Well, he was not real schooled, I guess, on that kind of stuff. And we're like, yeah, I don't think he saw a demon, but he was he was convinced there was something up there telling him nobody else better come up here or they're going to get hurt. So Beth and Ernie was taking care of him, and I went back up to the cafeteria because I wanted to make sure that the people there were going to be safe. So I went up because that's part of what I did as part of the team was I go up there and fill out the energy.
Try to clear
it. And I got in there, and there was something heavy in there, something that
was very
strong that, like I said, I don't think it was from Brushy. I think somebody that was with us that night might have, because, we weren't the only ones there. I think somebody else.
What in heaven's name is going on now?
What's that?
That was really bizarre.
You're glitchy all of a sudden.
Are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
There was something that went on. There was something that went on over here that was just like crazy.
Yeah, you glitched out.
Well,
that might be a sign that we should end this. I want to say thank you very much for being here, and it's been a pleasure and an honor to have you guys on. It's taken too long, and I apologize for that fact, but I will make it a point of going ahead and making sure that we can go ahead and talk soon again.
Sure. We appreciate you having us on. It's been fun.
We got a busy period coming up here over the next few weeks.
We've been very busy. Good night, Eric. Thank you.
I've been talking about next year,
Okay. Well, we need to get you down here to Fort Duffield too.
Okay. I appreciate it. And you guys have a great night. If you want to hang around for a few, I'm just going to close this out.
All right.
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Mariah.
Thank you, everybody. Everybody down the hill. Everybody all the way down.
Thank you, Barbara.
There's a lot of people in here, a lot of great people. Thank you very much for everybody. And let's start to do this thing. That's the heck. Where'd it go? What is going on here? I guess I don't. Okay, forget it. We're ending it. Okay, good night, everybody. Sorry about that. I don't know what they did with my clothes. So it would be it. Good night, everybody.
Everybody take care. Be good to one another.